All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this, and welcome to the Only Sports Podcast with Brains and Bars. It's another episode of It's a Black and White Thing. I am one half of the dynamic duo. I am Carlos Johnson. You can call me A1. You can also call me Dan. You can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, or searching for us on YouTube. Please rate, review, subscribe, give us 5 stars. Please share the broadcast. The more you do that, the more faces we are in front of. Tell a friend and tell a friend. It's those boys again. Also, thank you to those who will tune in live. We also ask that whether the platform, we're on Periscope, we're on Facebook, and we're also on YouTube. When you come into our house, say what's up. Let us know where you're watching from, and please like and share the broadcast. So as you can see, this is a little bit of a different show. A-Ward will be here. He's going to be showing up here at the top of the hour to discuss battle rap and sports. But sitting on the other side of the screen to me tonight, he is part of Beyond the Buzzer Radio. He also covers the Hornets, Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Dream, the Phoenix Mercury. He is Danny Thompson, joining us tonight to talk about the Charlotte Hornets. Danny, how are you this evening, sir?
Man, Carlos, it's been a minute since I've been on this show. The format's different. I'm not calling in. This is completely different.
Hey, man, the pandemic, when it hit, we couldn't sit down together and do the show like we were accustomed to. And so it forced us into a new format. And so, we went from Zoom. Now we're here on the StreamYard platform. And so, you got to level up when life hands you lemons, got to make that lemonade,
Understandable. That's what I had to do as well, too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So before we get into the Hornets, just tell us a little bit about Beyond the Buzzer Radio.
Beyond the Buzzer Radio is a show that myself and my good friend, the student of the game, Kyle Nash, we've been doing since, while I was living in Orlando. It's been almost a year now that we've done the show together. It's a show that started in Orlando on Orlando Radio at 98.5 The Wire. Like you, with the pandemic, it kind of moved us away from terrestrial radio. And me relocating to Charlotte was the other part of the reason why. So we talk sports Thursday nights, 9 p.m. on Facebook Live, through YouTube, I-95 Sports Network, Zingo Television. We talk all things sports, NBA, college, football, basketball, you name it, we talk about it. And we also have a little bit of pop culture at the end of the show that we call Mount Rushmore. So we've been doing this for a while, and then, covering the day-to-day for the 3pointconversion.com. Big shouts to the guys and girls over there. Hornets, Dream, the Phoenix Mercury, among other sports, college, UFC, boxing, and those things as well, too. So we cover a lot of things over there.
That's what's up. So y'all can check them out. And you guys go live when?
We go live on Thursday nights, and then I go live after every Hornets game on Haps TV, through the Facebook page and everything else too. So it's Hornets game night, so I can't complain either.
That's what's up. And that is why you are here today, to talk about the Charlotte Hornets. And so, right now they are fifth place in the East.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a very entertaining season, obviously, with the addition of the rookie LaMelo Ball. And so I want to start there. Coming into the season, what were your expectations for the Hornets as they started this, this pandemic year?
The one thing I expected from Charlotte this year was to be competitive. I didn't think they were going to be this good at this point in the year. We saw the end of last year when things started coming together. Malik Monk, before he got suspended, we saw what Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham did last year. So you expected Charlotte to be semi-competitive. I had them right around 25, 26 wins or so, because it's only a 72-game season. Mm-hmm. So I expect them to have a little bit higher win total than last year. But at this point, I didn't expect them to be, we're talking mid-March, and they are literally right now, not that there's a play game, but I think if they win tonight, they'll be in 4th place if they Houston tonight. So.
Yep. And I, like you, I'm definitely surprised at how well they've been playing. And so let's jump into LaMelo. Like, how much of that can be attributed to LaMelo and the energy and the spark that he brought as a rookie?
I think it's contagious. The guys, you can ask any of the guys on the team, he has an energy to him. He's 19-year-old, but people talk about how much he played overseas, but he's not your typical 19-year-old. I don't know if it's the same as like Luka Doncic when it comes to that type of impact, but their games are completely different. What LaMelo has done in the time he's been here since November, he hasn't been here that long, he has transformed a culture. It's to the point now where you see the team running, the pace is better. They're much more exciting. I mean, before the injury, LaMelo Ball and the Hornets were becoming must-watch television in NBA League Pass. It was like almost a nightly basis that you had to watch LaMelo Ball because something special was going to happen. And you have to give James Borrego a lot of credit and the staff a lot of credit because unlike a lot of situations with rookies, LaMelo Ball had a situation that was different than everybody else. And the difference for LaMelo was the fact of he wasn't expected from day one to be a superstar from day one. He wasn't expected to start from day one. So when you go from a guy that only played 12 games in Australia and hadn't played in almost literally a year because he got hurt in December of 2019. I'm sorry, 2018. He got hurt right before the draft, and he sat out the rest of the season. So for him to get readjusted after a year off and getting a chance to learn the game from a different perspective, because he wasn't brought in to be the savior. He wasn't brought in to be the franchise player from day one. You know, Devontae Graham had over 203 points the season before, and Terry Rozier was his first chance of being that leading guy. So he had a chance to learn, and he's grown so much on both. It's not just the offensive end he's grown on. He's grown on the defensive end. His IQ was already basketball high. It's even better because he's become much more of a smarter player. So the sky's the limit for this kid, and it's unfortunate that he has the fractured right wrist, but whatever if the timetable is going to say he's out the rest of the season, but it's good. I'm super excited for next year to see what the team brings and what they do around him. But if the time he was here this year, it was the best of times, the worst of times. Let's just say that.
So you talked about the infectious energy that he brought to the team. Has that translated to the city at all?
This city is completely different. Too bad we don't have fans here. We just started getting fans back a couple of weeks ago after the All-Star break. The energy in the city is a lot different. You see LaMelo Ball jerseys everywhere. People are waiting for tickets. I know the ticket prices are extremely high now. Remind you, with COVID prices, the Hornets, like every other team in the NBA, they're going to make their money back somehow. All right. Those ticket prices are going through the roof, and you got to buy them in certain pairs because there are restrictions everywhere. But I think the second we get everybody back in the building at 100% capacity, Charlotte was going to be a place where this place was 2 years ago. It's going to be hard to find a ticket because people want to watch LaMelo Ball. That's how big of an impact he is. I'll be honest with you, Carlos. This guy, LaMelo, could be the biggest star Charlotte's had going back to the Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning days in the 90s. Wow. And that's no offense to Kemba Walker either.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, just looking at their record, like at least as far back, I didn't go back too far. I went back about 3 or 4 years, but this has got to be the latest they've been 500 or better in some time. I mean, just went back and look at the last couple of years. I know they made the playoffs. Was it Kemba's last year or next to last year with the Hornets?
Last year.
They made the playoffs.
His last year.
39-43, they made the playoffs. You know, I would presume that they're going to come somewhere mid-30s, maybe high 30 win team this year.
It really depends. The road, because they have a road trip coming up. They're ending their West Coast trip, their final West Coast trip of the year tonight in Houston. They have 2 games at home, which is Miami and Phoenix over the weekend, Friday and Sunday, and then they go on the road for 6 more. And it's much more of an Eastern Conference trip, but it's 6 games on the road, which makes 11 out of 13. And if the Hornets can survive this, then the stretch of games at home, and then you're really getting into tax time and getting towards the playoff chase. Survival is the most important thing in the Eastern Conference right now.
So with the injury to Melo, what does this do to the Hornets going forward and their chase for the playoffs?
Well, it makes a lot. It changes a lot of things, I think, with the front office. The trade deadline's tomorrow, and I think it might have changed the hand of Mitch Kupchak and everything else they were trying to accomplish. Because if they were in the market of trading Devontae Graham and or Malik Monk, that market is gone now. Because LaMelo is not. I mean, LaMelo being out with a season-ending injury, and I know the franchise has said they'll reevaluate him in 4 weeks. But if you look at it like this, Yusef Nurkic broke his hand in January and has not practiced. He's still 2 weeks away from hitting the court. So if you look at Yusuf Nurkic's timeline, for example, it's going on literally 10 weeks. The average fractured hand will take 7 to 10 weeks to come back. That's leading into the playoffs. And then he hasn't practiced. His body's not in shape. He's out for the season. I don't expect him back. And if he comes back in 4 weeks, I'd be really surprised. And I just don't risk it at this point.
So you mentioned the trade deadline. Are there any potential moves that Mitch and the team can make to try to bolster the roster so that they can, because for those of you who do not know, right, if you haven't been following the NBA, they've implemented the playoff rules that they had last year. They've expanded that to 7 through 10, right? As long as there's did they still have the 4-game difference rule? Mm-hmm. So it's just teams 7 through 10, period, have to play in to get into that playoff spot. Like you mentioned before, they're half a game out of home court advantage, which if you had told me that at the beginning of the season, I'd have been saying no way.
Let's go to Vegas.
But they're half a game away from that. And so, you want to stay out of that. You want to make sure at least you're top 6, right? So you're not having to play your way in after playing a 70-game season. Mm-hmm. So you said are there any moves that they could make going forward?
The gaping holes at the center position. There's a completely gaping hole at center. No offense to Cody Zeller, who's been playing the center position, but between his injury and the fact that he doesn't protect the paint very well, Bismack Biyombo is what he is. He's a guy, if you need him for spot minutes here and there, if you need him to come off the bench, he's fine. But if you need him for longer periods of time, that becomes a serious problem. Now, the market for Charlotte is kind of dry because if you look at Charlotte, Andre Drummond, people have talked about Andre Drummond, but it doesn't make sense for a team that wants to push the tempo. And 2, you have to match $28 million in salary, and the Hornets just doesn't have it right now. Other options include Hassan Whiteside, but Whiteside can't even get off the bench in Sacramento. So why would you even trade for him in Charlotte in this case, even though he's local to the area? They've talked about Miles Turner, but do they trade Devontae Graham and Cody Zeller, knowing that you don't have any depth, especially in the backcourt? There are other options on the table. DeMarcus Cousins, which I don't see him playing for Charlotte. I see him waiting for a contender to wait for him, like the Lakers or something. The market's not much. JaVale McGee, but I think McGee wants to go to Brooklyn, like everybody else. I think Carlos, I think you were going to sign in Brooklyn next week. I think everybody wants to go to Brooklyn. So I've heard people talk about Rashard Holmes, Montrezl Harrell, which I don't think the Lakers would trade Harrell at this point with nobody left, and Rashard Holmes might cost too much. So I think Mitch is going to have to keep this team at the deadline the way it is, unfortunately. But I would not risk the salary cap room for the summer trying to make a 2-month playoff run, and you might not even guarantee yourself getting out of that play-in game.
Man. So with them being in that 5 spot, do you think that they can hold on to that? Can they stay out of that play-in territory, right? Can they hold on and stay between 4 and 6 the rest of the season?
It's difficult. Atlanta is playing phenomenal basketball. They've lost 1 game since Nate McMillan has taken over the head coaching job. Indiana is now starting to get healthy. Karis LeVert's now back in the lineup. And even though there have been trade talks for Malcolm Brogdon, you've heard about Miles Turner's name being mentioned. Don't forget about Indiana. Miami is getting themselves together. They finally have gotten healthy. And who knows if Miami ends up with Kyle Lowry before the deadline tomorrow. They might end up with LaMarcus Aldridge after the buyout period if he's bought out with the Spurs. So Miami's right there. And then, hey, listen, the New York Knicks have been playing good basketball. Yeah. Tom Thibodeau, every year Tom Thibodeau takes over a job, that team gets to be better. And you can't sleep on the Knicks either. And there are plenty of teams fighting for that 6th spot. Without LaMelo Ball, they're going to need Malik Monk to step up in the biggest way possible in a free agent year. That's what they need for him to do, and go back to the Malik Monk that was scoring 20 points a game, right around 18 to 20 points a game about 3-4 weeks ago.
So do you think that he has that in him, that he can be that guy for him in LaMelo's absence?
Malik Monk is a very interesting case. Malik Monk is J.R. Smith without J.R. Smith wearing a T-shirt. Okay, we all know J.R. Smith wearing a T-shirt half the time. Malik Monk is a fire plug offensive player. You put him in the game, he's going to get buckets. The problem is if he's not hitting shots, then he is pretty much pointless. All right, he's defensively engaged when his shot's going down, when he's aggressive. There are nights like he had the other night where he's 5 or 15 from the floor at 11 points, but there's nights he can give you 7 for 16 with 6 3-pointers and 26 points. He's the one guy on the Charlotte roster, even counting LaMelo Ball, that can score from all 3 levels and can get to the free throw line consistently. He just has to consistently do it, and that's been the problem for the last 4 years, and that's why the Hornets haven't put an offer on the table, because we haven't seen him do it for long stretches of time. So he's boom or bust.
So they have Devontae Graham is going to be a free agent this offseason, right?
Restricted.
Okay, so they have Scary Terry. You got LaMelo coming back. You signed Gordon Hayward's going to be around for the next 3 years after this season. So let's project a little bit. If I'm going to put you in the front office, what are you looking for after this season to try to push this team? Obviously the way the Nets are currently constructed, they're out of the picture, right? I think if you look at the East, you're looking at the 76ers and the Nets kind of the top tier teams in the East. So how do they push forward and become kind of that top of the next tier in 2021-22 going forward?
Well, the real question is, which one do you value more? Do you value Malik Monk more? Or do you value Devontae Graham more? Mm-hmm. That's the first question you have to figure out, because you only can keep one. You can't keep both. Cody Zeller's contract comes off the books, and that's I don't think they re-sign him unless it's a cheaper number. You're obviously going to need to go find a big. Mm-hmm. The part about this year being so, I would say, catch 22-ish is the fact of, you would have thought the Hornets would have wanted to be in the chance to maybe get an Evan Mobley, because free agents don't really run to Charlotte. This is something that hasn't happened. The last major free agent signed here was Al Jefferson, and that was really kind of a trade situation. Guys don't sign here on really just because. LaMelo Ball might change that because he's a pass first point guard. But the market this summer is Andre Drummond and what's left of the bigs. Is really what's left. I think you have to go find a big of the draft. And the one thing Charlotte could do is, outside of Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier, who has an expiring contract after next season, is that if you can do what they've done with the players in Greensboro, Charlotte has done a great job with developing players from Greensboro. You go back to Devontae Graham, Cody Martin, Caleb Martin's in the rotation, Jalen McDaniels, and they still have 2 guys that haven't really seen much court time this year, and Nick Richards and Vernon Carey, who they got the second round this year. Mm-hmm. So I think they might try to find a big that can help out. Nothing major. Listen, I don't think they'll trade for Karl-Anthony Towns because they don't have that type of arsenal and firepower to go get a cat in the offseason. But I think if I'm the general manager, I think I'd go out and try to find somebody that's going to be economical, and you have $20 million in cap space. I think you can go find somebody to go plug the paint at $20 million. My guy's Jonas Valanciunas, but I think the Grizzlies are going to open that checkbook up for Joe Val. So,
okay, well, we will see. Shout out to my homie Jesse Abbey in the comments. He said Drummond is not the look nice stats, but worthless stats. Yeah, we'll see.
Minnesota Kevin Love to me.
Oh, I actually just saw a video recently of Kevin Love. He had a 50-point game anniversary against the OKC Thunder, and I think that was always a knock on him, right? It was always empty calories. It was, okay, you're putting up 20 and 10, but your team is always,
it wasn't even 20-10. It was Carlos. It was like 26 and 15. Like there, as much as Kevin streamlined his body, got himself into a lot better shape, but. I'm sorry, fat Kevin Love was way better than skinny Kevin Love.
That's what's up. So we got a couple more minutes. I know you got to get ready for the game tonight. Who are the Hornets taking on tonight?
The Victor Oladipo-less Houston Rockets.
Oof. So they got off the schneid, right? Like they had lost 20 straight, and I think they finally got.
They beat the Raptors. They ironically beat the Toronto Raptors, that could have been Kyle Lowry's final game in Toronto. Who knows?
Wow. Okay. Well, so I got a couple more questions for you, and I'll let you go. I know you've done, bracket challenges and brackets before. Did you fill out a bracket this year?
My bracket was shot before dinner time on Friday. Before dinner time even got here in Charlotte, like I was getting my haircut Friday afternoon, and I just saw my bracket literally implode in about a good 40 minutes. When my sleeper team, I picked the wrong sleeper team, so I had Utah State as a sleeper, and the bracket got ousted by Texas Tech, and then Ohio State went down in flames literally 20 minutes later. My bracket shot. I think I have one team left in the Final Four.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, thank you, Shaka Smart, because you proved me wrong on that one. Illinois was the one team I didn't expect to. I expected Illinois and Gonzaga to get out of the first weekend. I didn't expect Illinois to lose to, but you know what? Give Loyola Chicago a lot of credit because Sister Jean is cheat code.
Hey, no offense. I want them to lose so bad. Like I knew that they could beat Illinois. I knew it was a possibility. I didn't pick them because I don't want to see that lady on the screen all the time when they play. No offense to her. Shouts out to God, but nah, I'm straight.
She's cheat code, but she's cheat code. Doesn't matter. If she's in the building, listen, I think they're gonna beat Oregon State on Saturday. I think it's Saturday. I think they play Saturday.
Yeah.
And listen, if Loyola Chicago gets back to the Final Four, they're gonna raise her red shirt to the rafters. I'm telling you. All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, so last question, and I'm gonna get you out here so you can get ready for the game. So my guy A Ward, who's going to be joining us here in a couple of minutes at the top of the hour, he started a little bit of a social media controversy over who's the real Melo, Carmelo Anthony, or LaMelo Ball. So for you and the guys who cover the team, who is he LaMelo, and then Carmelo Anthony is the real Melo? For the guys who cover him every day.
I mean, I've always mentioned him as LaMelo. I think that it will become much more commonplace when Carmelo finally takes his place in Springfield as a first ballot Hall of Famer. But as of now, Melo is OG, Melo is 00, Melo is Portland. So I refer to Mr. Ball as LaMelo, and I refer to Carmelo as Melo.
Well, there you have it. From the man who covers the Hornets day in, day out. He's Danny Thompson, Beyond the Buzzer Radio, covering the Atlanta Dream, the Phoenix Mercury, with shout out to Phoenix Mercury, which has my favorite women's player of all time, Diana Taurasi. She can give you buckets. And the Charlotte Hornets. So I'm going to let you get out of here so you can cover your game tonight. I appreciate you joining us. It will not be the last time. And like you said, yeah, we'll see. Maybe next time we will both have leveled up again, and maybe we can actually do this in studio next time. Let's dream big. Let's think big.
I mean, let's dream big, but mind you, we gotta get rid of that shirt. That 49er shirt's gotta go. All right. Hey, I mean, there's nothing because Kyle, my co-host, is a 49ers guy. So I gotta hear 49ers talk on a regular basis. And no, the 49ers are trash-tastic, okay? All right. Unfortunately, Deshaun Watson ain't showing up there anytime soon. So yeah, that'll be the last Super Bowl shirt y'all be wearing for a while. Enjoy that.
Oh wow. If they get a quarterback, That's all they're missing.
I mean, but the same thing. If you get a quarterback, if the Bears got a quarterback, if the Falcons had a defense, I mean, if the Panthers had a real team, they're just different what ifs in sports that we could say.
So let me ask you, you're a Falcons fan.
Die hard.
What do you think of the moves the things that they've done thus far in this offseason? Getting Arthur Smith, right? Do you think, well, let me ask you this. They have a top 10 pick. So do you replace and get a new quarterback? Because I've seen a lot of my drafts. I've seen the young man from Ohio State, Justin Fields. I've seen some Mac Jones. Do you go quarterback?
If Mac Jones is drafted by the Falcons, I might have to change teams as well. If I take a quarterback at 4, the one I would want to be Trey Lance. I watched the pro day. The kid throws a tight spiral. He reminds so much of Steve McNair. He reminds me of McNair, and I don't want a quarterback at 4. I really don't. They restructured the contract, making sure Matt Ryan's going to be there for at least another 2 seasons. Give Matt Ryan one more shot at this. For me, I want defense because Atlanta couldn't tackle last year. There have been plenty of games where the Falcons have given up 4-quarter leads because guess what? Nobody can tackle on defense. Yeah. Or you go get a left tackle and build the offensive line. We got Mike Davis the other day, so I was happy with Mike Davis. Very cheap, we didn't have any cap. Atlanta had no cap room. Matt Ryan had to restructure his contract. We had a couple other guys restructure contracts. We lost a lot of guys on defense. So I think this should be a defensively led draft. If I can choose one player at 4, and I know he's sliding on everybody's draft boards, but give me Micah Parsons of Penn State. Him and Deion Jones running around terrorizing people, because I mentioned this on the show before. When you wear number 11 at Penn State at linebacker, you got to be pretty good.
Facts. All right. Well, cool. Well, like I said, I'm gonna let you get to the game. I appreciate you joining us. Like I said, it won't be the last time, and look to seeing you again in the future.
A1, always appreciate, my man. Let me know.
Yes, sir. All right.